Welcome to this briefing. We are the executive team here at Liberatum AI Vault, and today, in this highly focused explainer, we're sharing our institutional analysis on 3 generational private tech companies that are gearing up for the public markets. Look, we are literally standing on the precipice of a monumental economic shift right now. It's an inflection point where the physical and digital infrastructure for the next 50 years is actively being laid down. Our mandate for you today? Cut right through the speculation, skip the noise, and map out the architectural future of our society with absolute clarity. Let's dive in. You know, whenever these high-profile assets get ready to go public, the noise is just deafening. The financial media goes into a complete frenzy, and a lot of everyday investors rush in to ask one basically flawed question: should I buy? Well, we demand an entirely different standard here. We have to understand the profound why behind these forces before the rest of the world even catches on. Why do these companies matter in the first place? What massive structural deficit in the global economy are they actually solving? Because if we can't answer those foundational questions, we have absolutely no business allocating capital, period. To map out this future, we're going to walk you strictly through a precise 5-phase briefing today. We'll start with an introduction, then move into a deep dive on the 3 companies, connect them in the bigger picture, discuss why patience is also part of investing, and finally wrap up with our final reflection. All right, phase 1, introduction, setting the stage. We're kicking things off by analyzing an opportunity that is way, way bigger than a single stock ticker or a quarterly earnings report. See, investing isn't just about accumulating shares. It's really about recognizing the architecture of the world before the masses do. We explicitly ignore the daily hype cycle, the algorithms, the pundits, the retail frenzies. That's all just static to us. Our mandate is to position ourselves at the absolute bedrock of tomorrow's society. We are hunting for that invisible layer of infrastructure that every other business is eventually going to be forced to rely on. To win this decade, we've got to figure out where global operations are migrating and secure our positions before that new infrastructure is fully priced in. Makes sense, right? Moving right into phase 2, the 3 companies, analyzing invisible global infrastructure. Let's deeply profile the specific entities that are literally laying down the tracks for the next century: SpaceX, OpenAI, and Anthropic. First up, SpaceX. When we evaluate SpaceX, we have to push past the rudimentary view of just seeing rockets. We see the permanent foundation for tomorrow's interconnected space economy. Their massive breakthrough in reusable launch technology has dramatically and permanently tanked the cost of accessing space. Think of it like this. Just as the transcontinental railroads completely opened up the American West and unleashed this unprecedented economic boom, SpaceX's reusable rockets, they're the orbital railroads. They are making the previously impossible totally viable, laying down this invisible infrastructure right over our heads that connects billions of people below. Because space is no longer just a theater for national pride or, isolated scientific exploration. It is the new base layer for our entire civilization. It's actively evolving into a critical domain that touches everything: global communications, advanced manufacturing and microgravity environments, and sovereign defense networks. We're staring at a future where global logistics, research, and ultimately human expansion beyond Earth are completely dependent on this launch infrastructure. So you're not just buying a rocket company here. You are buying the foundational layer of a multi-trillion-dollar off-world economy. It's huge. All right, moving over to OpenAI, we are shifting from physical logistics to the infrastructure of the mind. By analyzing OpenAI, we are essentially investing in the future of intelligence itself. Every massive tech revolution reshapes human productivity, but AI, it's triggering a transformation that matches, or honestly probably exceeds, the scale of the 20th century electrical grid. Just as electricity went from this weird novelty to a ubiquitous utility that powers literally every factory, home, and enterprise, intelligence is becoming an on-demand utility. It's an essential global building block that is going to power the cognitive functions of the entire global economy. AI is the new infrastructural spine. Just consider the staggering scope of this integration for a second. It's going to accelerate scientific research by decades, instantly crunching complex biological data to completely revolutionize healthcare and drug discovery. It's going to completely overhaul legacy software development. We're talking about code writing code. It'll redefine risk management and global finance and supercharge autonomous engineering and robotics. It will be as invisible yet as utterly essential to your daily operations as the internet itself. Basically, any industry that requires human thought is going to be augmented by this foundational layer. Finally, let's turn our attention to Anthropic. Now, it is super crucial to understand that not every AI company is trying to solve the exact same problem in the exact same way. While others race at breakneck speed toward general capability, Anthropic takes a highly specialized, very calculated approach. They are laser focused on engineering reliable, trustworthy AI built specifically for long-term use. We're talking integration into businesses, governments, research institutions, and heavily regulated sectors where just a single hallucination or data breach could literally cost billions. For Anthropic, trust is the ultimate moat. As the global AI arena matures and integrates into the highly sensitive core of our global systems, from national security infrastructure all the way to international banking, uncompromising security is going to be an absolute institutional imperative. Look, legacy enterprises just cannot afford unpredictable intelligence. They require constitutional, verifiable safety. And Anthropic is engineering itself to monopolize that exact trust. They are positioning themselves to be the enterprise-grade bedrock for the most risk-averse institutions on the planet. Okay, phase 3. The bigger picture. Because space exploration, artificial intelligence, and global digital security are not just isolated technological leaps. They are deeply interwoven forces driving a unified, multi-decade paradigm shift. History consistently rewards those who recognize these massive structural shifts early. We saw it in the 1990s when the deployment of the internet-connected global computers. We saw it in the 2000s when smartphones connected humans to that internet on the go. We saw it in the 2010s when cloud computing virtualized the corporate server room. And today, space and AI infrastructure represent that exact next critical leap. These companies are building the physical and cognitive rails for the 2030s and beyond. And the rule here is simple. Those who own the infrastructure ultimately own the economic era that runs on top of it. That brings us to phase 4. Patience is also part of investing. Bridging this incredible macroeconomic thesis to the gritty reality of the stock market takes absolute discipline. Because believing in a company's exceptional future does not mean blindly buying it the very second it lists.
When highly anticipated initial public offerings hit the market, a predictably chaotic cycle always follows. Step 1. Early euphoria and media hype drive prices unnaturally high as retail investors scramble for shares. Then, Step 2, as lockup periods end and insiders are finally permitted to sell portions of their early holdings, we see massive structural selling pressure. That influx of new supply sparks Step 3, intense, often violent market volatility. But for us, for the institutional investor, this volatility isn't a warning sign to run away. It is the required window, Step 4, to build calculated, long-term positions at fair valuations.
The divide between amateur and institutional execution is incredibly stark. Our mandate at Libertome AI Vault is unwavering. We never chase emotional retail spikes. Never. Our goal is strictly to build calculated positions over the long horizon. We actually utilize that market volatility and insider selling pressure as our entry mechanism. We wait patiently for the hype to break so we can secure our stake in these infrastructural giants at rational, sensible prices. Finally, Phase 5, Final Reflection. As we look clearly at what this moment represents for human capital, we've got to ground ourselves in financial reality while keeping our eyes fiercely focused on the horizon. Here is the uncompromising reality. Markets are emotional. Volatility is inevitable. In perfect timing, it's a complete myth. No one, not even the most sophisticated algorithms, can predict exactly how these specific IPOs will perform during their first chaotic weeks of trading. But when we take a step back from the ticker tape, the truth is obvious. SpaceX, OpenAI, and Anthropic aren't just 3 companies entering the stock market. They are 3 gravitational forces directly shaping the future limits of human capability. So, we leave you with our core operational thesis. At Liberatum AI Vault, we don't invest in yesterday's economy, we invest in tomorrow's civilization. Thank you for joining us for this briefing. The architecture of the next decade is being laid down right now, piece by piece, orbit by orbit, node by node. The only question you have to ask yourself today is, are you prepared to confidently own a piece of it, or will you be left trading the ghosts of the past?